Adam, who's going to win the World Cup?
I think Australia.
Why?
Because I think they've, certainly on paper, they're as competitive as anyone. The names that are there now and the momentum that they built up in the one-day format. Once they left Australian shores, obviously through India, the confidence there. I just like what I'm seeing. Always thought once they got their full squad at full strength that they were going to be as competitive as anyone. Well, I think they will be. But certainly the momentum and confidence they've picked up on the back of that Indian series, and then where else did they go? UAE. At the start of the last Australian summer, you would have said they were a long way off, but there was always a lot to happen between then and the start of the World Cup. And I think a lot of the shoots are forming from the seeds of leadership that Justin's planted as well, and I think they're binding together really nicely. I think Warner's got to be at the top. I think that's where he's going to win you the games. That's what he knows, that's what he does, has done so well, that's what he's been doing in the IPL. White ball cricket, I think that is, any cricket, that's his spot. Because as an opponent, sometimes you've got to stop and think, right, what would the opponent least like us to do? And that would be have Dave Warner coming out to make an impact right from the start of the game and set the tone.
Does that leave Usman at number 3 for you?
Yeah, I think Finchie has to stay at the top too. So I think Usman will then fit in. And I would suspect, I don't know, I haven't asked him, but I would suspect Usman would be pretty happy to fit in wherever he is asked to fit in that lineup. It's going to be very challenging to nail it down. Again, a great problem to the final starting 11 because we've got some really nice choices there now. Alex will do a terrific job. I think he's learning as he's gone along, the more experience he's gained at international level and what his role is, and hopefully he won't have to feature too much with the bat if he's sort of slotting into that middle lower order because the top order's done it. But I think he's a very capable guy that if the team's under pressure or the top order has failed, that he's learnt how to rebuild and pace anything. So yeah, his glove work's brilliant. He's got leadership qualities. I think he's already playing a significant part in the sort of cultural element of that team. So yeah, he's got a big role to play.
Are you surprised that Josh Hazlewood didn't get picked?
Initially, yes, but listening to JL's comments and taking into consideration the cricket or lack of that he's had, I can understand where they're coming from in that regard. But I do understand Josh's disappointment and frustration, and again, a nice issue to have that if you're leaving that calibre of player out, that it means they're pretty comfortable and confident in the guys that they've picked. Only Josh could answer whether he'd rather be in a World Cup or an Ashes. He'd want to be in both, and every team's going to have their tough, hard luck selection stories. England are about to go through that themselves. It's hard to speculate on when you're not inside the group to know the machinations of the selection process and what Josh has been told. But what I probably am certain of, I don't quite sound right, probably certain, what I am certain is that Josh would have been given every indicator, every bit of communication to know where he's standing and why things are happening. I know that's the way Justin operates. So I'd be very surprised if he's, agree that he's disappointed, but I'd be surprised if he's disillusioned as to what the situation was. I reckon teams would be looking at us pretty fearful. I really believe we start as one of the favourite teams. But whether that helps us or not or puts pressure on our guys, I don't know. I think, I don't think Justin would relish either way. But he doesn't have to play. He's not the one having to go out there and do it, so you'd have to ask the players. I don't think anyone puts too much thought into that. I never walked out into any game going, we are definitely favourites, because it guarantees nothing. There's a lot of discussion about what the reception will be for Smithy and Davey, and I think we all know what that's going to be, and they expect it. And I think the quicker that's played out, the better. Yep. And then if they get results, that'll be white noise in the background. The challenge will be if they're not getting the results, and whether they can keep that as white noise or whether it starts to cloud your judgment and your decision making. So that's the challenge. Everyone's aware of it. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But they'll be well prepared for it.
Is it the way you found your tours of England, say 2005, when it's a struggle for everyone, the crowd thing really plays a factor,
that
but when you're winning,
killed me
it doesn't?
in '05. That was that got a hold of me mentally. Off the field, walking back off the team bus into the hotel, out at night trying to get dinner. Me personally, I was totally engulfed by it all, almost where you think everyone's looking at you and talking about you and then judging you as a person as well. That's how deeply affected I was. So, I was not doing anything near what the guys have done to attract this attention. So, it'll be challenging, but they've had 12 months of readiness. They've eased into various crickets, various modes of cricket. So I think they're, as I say, they'll be well prepared, but it'll be a challenge.
Give me what makes Australia so feared. Is it recent results, or is it the fact that it's a World Cup and Australia owns it more or less recently?
A bit of everything. I mean, the fact that we won 5 doesn't guarantee these guys anything, but it's more just the recent results, the momentum that's been built up, and the names that are on the paper. It's a very, very strong, well-balanced team. And if you're leaving Josh Hazlewood out, that's an indicator that the bowling, and that's going to be, I think there's going to be some big scores in this World Cup. We're seeing that England and Pakistan at the moment over there in those conditions. But the bowling team, the team that executes most professionally and most disciplined with the ball, is going to win the World Cup, and I think we're very well served in that regard with a variety of options.
How much pressure will England be as both the number one team in the world and the hot favourites?
The expectation on them is going to be huge, and they are a very, very good one-day team at the moment, and very composed and settled and balanced, although again they'll have a name or two that will feel extraordinarily disappointed to miss out. But the hype's going to grow and grow and grow, and I expect England will get through to the semis, but then it's just a knockout game, and that's the fear, isn't it? And historically Australia hasn't really ever feared that part of it. Eventually in any tournament you get to the knockout stage, and fortunately it's bode well for us through that, and there's South Africa and England, it's not necessarily gone so well. Leading into the 2015 World Cup, I wondered whether there would be another 50-over World Cup after that. But I reckon that was a brilliant tournament. Obviously, Great Australia won, but it was a really successful tournament and really well followed, and created a lot of interest back into the 50-over format. And there's been even further tinkering of the rules, and whether the balance is right between bat and ball at the moment, I'm not sure. Maybe it's gone too far to the bat. So it's a great playground to tinker with rules. I think you can keep doing that. But I'm really enthused by the following for the 50-over game, even if it's not bums on seats every time, every series. But for a World Cup showpiece event, I'm really excited about the noise and the focus around it, and it's going to be a really big tournament. So I'm pretty comfortable with where 50-over cricket is, and I think the World Cup still eclipses the T20 World Cup as a showpiece. You can't, and I think it's even greater than the Test Championship at the moment. We'll wait and see what evolves in that. But as far as the showpiece event for world cricket that involves everyone, it's definitely at the pinnacle.